and just bring them in and then work 24/7.
All right.
Took them all in.
We'll call the February 5th, 2024 Management Services Committee to order. Got the roll. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll do that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any public comments? Seeing none. Sheriff's not here, so we'll get down to maintenance supervisor report.
I'll go quick, unless he shows up real quick. This past Thursday, I did a walkthrough of the buildings. IPNG insurance company sent a risk management contractor. Contacted Clint and he brushed her off on me. Only kid. But she had walked through all the buildings, the highway department, the old courthouse, which I didn't show her those. But this building, courthouse and jail, a couple hours. She mainly wanted to see, you know, everything's certified, the fire extinguishers, fire alarm system, elevator, all that's up to date. Security systems, where things are, cleanliness, blah, blah, blah. A couple concerns she did have. One, in the maintenance shed, she strongly suggested I get a fire cabinet for the gas and diesel storage I have out there, because I have some 5-gallon cans that are just sitting on the floor, and she said those are supposed to be in a container, which I suppose I knew, but I just never put them in one, to be honest with you. So I'll probably be ordering one of those coming up. Honestly, not a whole lot to report here in the last 4 weeks since we met. I did some painting for the health department last week. A couple snow removal events that we took care of, and a couple salt events. We had those 2 icy days. I felt like I was wasting salt on those days because I would salt everything, and an hour later it was diluted enough and it would ice back up. So it got to a point where I decided to stop. Hot water heater here at the admin building, we had that short little freezing cold snap. The gas regulator froze up for the hot water heater. It wouldn't let anything through, and you take the vent cap off by the hot water heater and nothing would come out. And talked to some people what to do, and long story short, I ordered new one from Plum Mart. I was going to swap it out, and came in 2 days later, and I go over to change it, and you know where I'm going with this. It was working, and it's been working since it warmed up. So I have a spare regulator on hand currently. Always the small little issues, toilet issues. Spent a morning in the jail. Had to fix a handrail of theirs, put up a couple dispensers for them. Light bulbs above the inmates. When I talk about light bulbs over there, when we had the LED transition, they did nothing in the inmate areas. I have swapped all those over to just screw in LED bulbs, so I'm finding that those don't like the enclosed fixtures that they go in. Even though it'll say on the pack, okay for enclosed fixtures, they're not. After several months, they'll start flickering, they'll just straight up go out. So a couple of years ago, Robbie at the Plum Mart ordered me a stockpile of compact fluorescents, 60-watt ones, because they're phasing those out. And I've been swapping them out with those, and they do much better. They seem like they're lasting years as opposed to months. This month of February, I mentioned actually a couple of times now at meetings, there's this project down at Assessment, a half door we're putting up for them, something similar to what it is when you walk in finance, so people just don't go strolling back in there. That is going to be taken care of this month in the next few weeks. I already have a sign that I had made, a small sign to put on whatever we make, says employees only beyond this point. Then the month after that, looking at March, I also made mention of a project in the deputy's room that the sheriff we've been discussing this for a year. We're gonna get the carpet, or what's left of the carpet, out of there. It's kind of more just like a black substance at this point. Get it out of there, we're gonna freshen it up, paint. He wants to move some stuff around. Some different desks are gonna be going in there, so we're gonna be working on that as well. That's all I have. I literally just wrote all this stuff down about an hour ago, so hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. If you have any questions about claims or whatnot, that's pretty much all I have.
Where are you going tomorrow?
Sedona.
Down.
I am going to Sedona, Arizona. Aren't you all proud of me?
Hope you come back.
Me too. And I was not complaining because I like to go anywhere, but I was talking to these two before you guys came in. You look at the weather today, it's like 60 and sunny, and literally in the 4-day block of days we're there, we couldn't have planned this any worse. Like 35 snow, 34 rain every day. And then when we leave, it gets beautiful again. And we planned this like 4 months ago, so we're gonna be finding some nice places to eat, I think. Or buying rain suits, because we did plan on doing some hiking and whatnot, which we probably still will, but it's just kind of funny how those things, the irony of it.
Did you get a response from the sheriff?
I did not, and I turned my silence off. He did not answer.
So we'll come back to it if he shows up. If he doesn't show up, you have somewhat of a quote. County farm management issues, anybody got anything? I got a call from that company on the bidding again. And he said, John, the company with the bidding, did that guy get a hold of you for the farm stuff? Okay. He's wanting to know if it'd be okay for him to do a presentation to the whole board. I said, that'd be up to you. So.
I guess it's better to do it before the committee, though, isn't it?
He's already discussed with us, but I don't know where we're at. I mean, I think we were kind of gonna just,
I'm thinking like, didn't we make a decision just to go with the
What we've been
contract
doing.
is up this year, isn't
Yes.
it? That we were gonna do the same thing we had done, give them some time to,
prove themselves.
right. And especially in light of that insurance thing that was brand new, like last August, remember?
Right.
And maybe consider that in 3 years. So in light of that, I don't see any reason to spend the time to, perhaps in 2 years, we'd like to start looking at that again. Because I do like the concept of doing it that way.
But maybe in 2 years it'll be more widely accepted.
Right,
So
right,
I
right.
don't think
I think
most
it's
of the
sort of
people
new.
in our county, the farmers would go through that.
Well, I know one that's interested that I talked to made the comment that they'd probably like to stay with what we're doing now.
Right.
Now, if it's a livestock farmer, they're used to online
Right,
stuff.
Right.
I mean, that's,
and have been
The sheriff.
for decades,
Yeah.
you know. But I do like the concept of it, but since we've made our decision, I don't see any reason to talk about it further until
Right,
the
I agree.
next renewal.
okay. Anything else on park management stuff?
I'm just looking back to see if there's anything. I don't see any notes that I've got made, anything like that.
Probably, what, July is when we put it out for bids? That's all I can do it.
When's it up?
After this fall.
But whatever you do, you gotta do it before November.
Right,
Everything has
that's
to
why,
be settled by then.
that's why if we put it on July, we have to bid in August.
When did we open, did we open bids in August?
I think we've done it as early as August, and we have done it later too.
Here's November 2023. Revisit the drainage. Okay. Let me see what we did in,
Would've been 2021.
oh, well, I don't have that far back in here.
Well, we can check on it.
Let's let's ask Jill when we did that, or let's ask Amanda, look back when we did that, but let's not,
We won't set a date yet.
yeah, put that on the agenda to talk about again next month, to set the date for bids to be published and.
Anything else? Fertilizer, well, that'll be the next thing, putting out for bid for fertilizer, for soil testing,
Yeah, we just did for that.
right? But soil testing goes along with the renewal.
So you make a note that we wanna talk about soil testing and bids, publishing for bids, and when we did that specifically, I guess that's what we need to know.
I think the soil testing, we were a little late last time, so we wanna,
Bump that up. a little.
yeah. Okay. I take it that wasn't the sheriff?
No, that was the guy who services the generators.
Animal control and morgue. We'll start with animal control. The fence, did we get kind of a diagram of what we wanted to do with that?
We did. Do you have any?
She's not listening to us, she's got her earbuds in.
I think she's mad.
I'm listening, I'm just trying to find some. Yeah, I emailed it to you.
You did?
Yeah, I would look on my computer, but it's dead. I forgot to plug it in over the weekend, I'm sorry. I can email it back, or I can go make copies real quick.
Please.
You think you emailed it to us?
Well, I think I emailed it to just Chris and Lyle, because that's who was talking to me about it. But hang on, I'll go get it.
I don't, I may have gotten it, but I don't remember seeing it. While we're waiting for her, I guess we can move on to the morgue. What,
Doug is gonna talk about
Doug's gonna talk about it?
Yeah, we've been working on more with our site engineer, which is G2A out of the Kankakee area, and then our architect, which is Jeff Jarvis, also out of the Kankakee area. And we've been going over the any issues or complexities we had. One of them that we knew about going in, we didn't know how much for sure it was, there's some slope change from north to south in the parking lot. The building that's there existing is level, but it looks like the best way to solve this is to consider raising the height of the floor approximately 6 inches of the new addition. The roof lines would be kept the same, so you really couldn't tell it from far away. But that allows us to be more ADA compliant with our walk door that we need to have. It'll also help with the slope, maintaining the slope of the driveway and not having as much expense in dealing with that. Looks like concrete would be the best way to transition between the building floor and the pavement. We don't know for sure right now how far we'll come out into the pavement with that concrete approach, we'll call it. But that solves that, we believe. We had a concrete contractor, local, come out last week, and we discussed the topic of the 6-inch elevation change. How would that impact things? Does it think that's a common sense way to go to solve this? And he thought there would be no issues caused. The only issue I see is if we'd ever bore a hole or an opening between the two additions, we'd have the 6-inch difference to build a ramp for, or this or that. But talking to the coroner, he wanted security of his building for chain of evidence, and so it's gonna be a long time, I would think, before we'd ever need to consider opening up a doorway. So with that in mind, looks like you should have been emailed maybe 3 pages from Lyle of some of the drawings, and possibly a 4th page.
We've got them printed out. I asked Amanda to email them, but there was confusion and I don't email well,
Okay.
so it got printed out.
That's fine. The latest draft is in the lower right-hand corner says A3. If we wanna look at it, but that's what we're proposing is the finished product for bid purposes. We've got the walk door at the extreme north end of the addition, and that helps with the ADA compliance of the ramping. There's room in the middle then for the big 10-foot door that'll allow us to the corner to drive in there and open the door and do his business. I think everything else is
Thank you.
been pretty well discussed, and we're pretty comfortable on where we're at in this day. Go ahead.
What about this and fill and this ditch back here?
That'll be under the site engineer, that'd be the MG2A, to come up with a plan, working with the city of Watsika's engineer of what we do about fill and what type of fill we use there, where it comes from, and what we do to comply with the stormwater runoff and all that situation.
Have we determined with the city of Watsika we're not in the floodplain? Have we,
We are in it, that we're aware of it, and all the contractors we've just talked to are working on it, and doesn't seem to be an issue. In talking to the Eric Brandt, the city inspector for Watsika, he kind of blew it off saying the floor of the existing building is out of the plane. And so, even though we're in the plane, the building is above the plane. So we'll still have to deal with the ground around us because that's in the plane. But there shouldn't be flooding issues or this or that.
and I'm not really worried about the flooding issues, it's the, bringing in fill, which we cannot do into a floodplain. We can move around within the floodplain.
We just, anything we bring in, we have to remove an equal amount.
Is that the way around that?
So like our gravel we'll need to bring in under
Oh,
concrete,
Right,
That-
sure,
that
that's
adds.
different.
so we'll have to figure that out where, and that's where the site engineer is in charge of coming up where we take out the dirt or what we use the dirt for to do that. One thing we probably need to talk to the sheriff about, it came up with the concrete party is, I don't know who, but somebody's driving around the guardrail on the, behind the jail over to Krista's building. And there, if you look out there, there's starting to be a mound up of where they're turning the corner, mounting up, and that's affecting the drainage. And I really don't know if we really need to be driving around that guardrail. So this,
Is it you, Chris?
No, I'll tell you who it is after the meeting.
Okay.
the contractor mentioned, and you could see it, how it's stopping the flow of the water. So that's something we might wanna do as building contractor, be scalp that off. And then, so it does
Extend the
drain.
guardrail or
I'm sorry?
extend the guardrail.
I mean, to me, it's guardrails there, pavements there, stay off the grass. I mean, it's kind of common sense. I don't know if you drive through your yard at your house, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
try not to on mine. So anyway, I think we just need to educate somebody that they just,
Don't.
That just became an issue too, like this past year.
Yeah,
It was never happening and now all of a sudden
well,
they're
and
trying to turn into a
so we
road.
probably can figure out who we need to chat with, but anyway. So, is there any more questions on any of this? Then?
Like you're ready to go.
Sorry, Paul?
Looks like you're ready to go.
Well, then that's what we would like to ask to do. Can we have the permission to go ahead and have the architect put out a bid request for the building, everything more or less above ground is what we're talking about. And everybody will deal with it, assuming the grade is brought up to where it needs to be for the site plans purpose.
So,
I'll make a motion that we
authorize
Authorize them to go out to bid
when they're ready.
when they're ready.
And I'll second that motion, but I do have a couple more questions. So what's the time frame? If we authorize it here today, we would set a time for those, what would be realistic for them to get all the specs? They're gonna assist us, I assume, with wording specs.
He's gonna do it all,
He's gonna do it all.
yes.
And he's gonna put it out for bid and publish.
Now, are we opening the bids?
Time out, let's back up a little bit, and this is, what's our common, or where do we, Jill or Amanda, where do we normally put out our request for bids?
On our website, and then just a local newspaper if we want to publish it in a newspaper.
Is that,
Any architect.
accepted? I mean, then if we do it that way, then that's put out for bids. I didn't see his contractor bid list this morning that he probably emailed us. And it's, one of the buddies in there was one of my classmates who passed away 10 years ago. So his list is not very, whatever. Also, there's not many Iroquois County people at all on the list. So my concern is if we need to talk to some local contractors and point them to this spot. So, we make,
also send the bid packet to contractors and ask them to bid. I do that with a lot of
okay,
our stuff. It's posted, but I also, if I have a list of people,
okay,
then I will send them a bid packet and invite them to bid.
great, thank you,
And I
that's a good answer.
also, like, ones I know, I call and say, do you know,
Right,
county is looking for, are you interested?
super,
And if they say yes, lots of times I'll call them, well, sometimes I've called Amanda and said, would you mail them?
okay.
Yeah. So back to
Uh,
are you done?
No, Lyle had a point that you brought up about. We talked about the bidding process, I wanted to know where it was, and you were asking about something with bidding.
Oh, well, it's gonna be whenever the architect
Who?
is ready.
You said who, where was the bids gonna be sent?
Are we going to do it? Are we gonna open the bids or does the architect open the bids? I would think we would wanna open.
I would think we would wanna open the bids here for transparency and,
I guess it matters on where the return address is on
Right.
where they send them, so yeah. Or he can give them to you and then you can open them.
I think they should be sent here.
Yeah.
Because I think there's
For chain of
something
custody.
about bids going through the clerk's office.
Yeah.
Where they're received.
They probably need to come to the clerk's office. I guess he could get with us as to when the date of, when the cutoff date is and stuff like that.
I assume he has the usual and customary time period that they're out there for. He thought that, hopefully by next week, that they would be out for bids then, providing everybody says it's okay to. Now, do we need to go through,
It has to go to the full board to be approved before it's officially able to go out.
okay, then they won't go out until at least next week, then after the board meeting, but hopefully we can,
Then I would assume, I mean, they might be able to get it together by the March meeting, but I would assume April would probably be more realistic.
can we
You
leave
don't
it?
wanna run into cutting it too short and having people not bid because of that.
Well, can we leave it up to his discretion, then too,
What?
on, if it's by the March meeting that we can get them open? Or back?
We can discuss with him what he thinks is appropriate. I mean, the
Well-
sooner the better, but I don't wanna make it so short of a time that people don't bid because of that.
Well, that would be 30 days though, Lyle. Surely
You know, it'd
people,
be,
from Tuesday to our
A
next
week less.
meeting would just be
3 weeks?
3.5 weeks, yeah.
but if they don't
3
get it
weeks.
for a week, then they gotta get pricing and
We could tip it off, what we're talking about really here is just the building itself, of which we know of 5, we think of 5 contractors qualified locally to do the building. So if we reached out to them and said, this is gonna appear after next Tuesday, we think, can you be ready in your bidding department, then we could also see if they think 3 weeks is enough, then too.
Yeah, I'm not sure. With, used to be it probably would have been enough. Now with supply chain and stuff, people may not get back with them with pricing that soon. I don't know.
And these are all considerations. I'm also thinking that April, we're upon the building
Yeah,
season.
I know. Which, you know, it may put us at the end of the season for building, but if we can at least get it done.
How about if we do this? How about if we went ahead and said it's okay to move the project forward by this committee thinking it gets ready to bid? Then, between now and the board meeting next week, we'll try to find out what the timetable is in their opinions. And we can also talk to a couple of the contractors that we would like to make sure they get in the loop to see if that's convenient for them too then. So we're proposing the bids turned in by this meeting next month, correct? That's what we like
If
to
at all
do.
possible, and that's what,
Yeah.
hopefully we'll know. You know,
Right.
if we talk to some people and know by the board meeting, then we can.
How about if we get back to you, get this week and that game plan?
April's board meeting is the 9th of, that's the date of the board meeting in April, and in March, it's the 12th.
You brought up a good point then, Bart, or Donna, in the sense that, the building season is already started, and so, we'll just get pushed back further in line maybe, even though it isn't a large project.
Well, and then we were gonna run into the fact that contractors that might wanna bid it would say, you know, I'm booked, and I've heard this, until
Mhm.
next fall or even next spring.
Mhm.
And then we might not get
Well, I guess.
the most competitive contractors participating in the bid
Yeah.
process.
We can, if they put that in there that, okay, you'll be scheduled for such and such a time, and all that's fluid because they may be able to work on one project and not another just because of where it rains or doesn't rain.
Right.
Um,
So I
you
think
know,
best situation is if we could open those bids in March. If there's no other alternative, if we can't do it, then I guess April is, that's what we've gotta do.
and if we absolutely had to, I'd hate to, but we could always have a special board meeting, but I would not like that.
Well, if we had to do it that way, we could do it on well, we'll see. Timing, we'll see.
Okay. Any other questions on it?
Do you need a motion? Oh, we've got a motion in a second, we need to vote.
Bowers,
Yes.
Crowe,
Yes.
Barons.
Okay, you got your diagram for the proposed fencing for the. So we're not looking at fencing the whole back area because coming from the west to almost where that kickout is where the gas comes in and what else comes in that way?
There's gas for both buildings, but then what is there? I think it's a MediaCom line or an AT&T line that runs just all through that backyard. I don't know how deep those get buried or what an issue that would be, having to put in concrete. But
Which. Okay. And this gives us 2 pens. And this is just a rough layout, I mean, when we get, you know, maybe we get a fencing contractor in there and they say, you know, if we laid it out this way, it would work better for you or whatever. You know,
given the,
is that 23 foot across, does that take us right up to the property line or?
no, that stays sort of a generous 6 foot from the side of the building to the north. just in case they have to do some work, if they have to work on a soffit, if they have to work on something on that building, I stayed about. Actually, I don't even think it was that much.
It gives them a fire lane, basically.
Right. Because if you recall, yeah, our property line went like literally right up to the fire station there. Given the fact that we have to do cement or something now, will this have to be done in conjunction? Like, are they going to put the fence posts in the mortar, or does the concrete go first and then they do the fence? How do they do the fence and then pour concrete? How does this work?
I would think the practical way to do it would be to have the fence company in, set the post, then pour the concrete and then put the fence. That way, concrete guys can get through there, but then they're not, if the concrete goes around like that center row of posts,
Yeah,
then they're there.
it'll have to just be one of those things where it's choreographed to work out for everybody.
Unless we, I assume they're gonna be metal posts, you could put sleeves in the concrete and then drive the posts in later, but that'd be something we'd wanna talk to the fencing guy to find out.
And then we opted for the single personnel door right there. Instead of the dog doors, it's a single door right on the side of that area where they can grab dog, put it out. If they have to have two out, they can separate them, and
Right.
that's,
And if we can do the fencing properly, where that door comes out, then you got that 5-foot section. If that could be a fence that then closes,
Yeah.
then you have access through there.
We talk about a contractor guy here, but we had a bid and only one bid, as I recall, that we rejected. So do we have someone in mind for this project, or where do we stand with that? Is this another bid process we're
It would be
gonna?
another bid. Well, by the time it's,
if there's a couple or possibly even 3 different contractors, someone doing the fence, someone doing concrete, someone else doing the door, I suppose the only one that would possibly push us over that threshold money-wise would be the concrete, don't you think?
Yeah. So. We can talk to, if we've got names of some contractors, we can kind of get some idea on what they're thinking. Not only how it should flow and everything, but,
Okay.
a lot of fuss over dogs.
Sure is.
So this is all gonna be concrete in the center, right?
Inside the fenced area, yeah.
Yeah, fenced in there, okay. So they gotta dig it out, work, level it, concrete.
At least remove the sod, yeah. And I don't know, I know it's gotta be a solid surface. I don't know,
What word did they use? Impermeable,
Impervious, yeah.
impervious.
so is that 2 inches of concrete or?
Oh, it's dogs, it's probably, like 18 inches of concrete. Yeah, I don't
think it's
know
more
that.
than 2, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, that would be something to maybe ask a concrete guy, how thick does it need to be that it doesn't start crumbling in a year?
They should put rebar in it.
Yeah, but still, if it's too thin, it's not gonna have enough there to hold together.
Right.
I guess it's cleaner to go for bids.
Yeah.
Maybe not for the door itself, because that's a small maintenance project basically,
Mhm.
but for the fencing and the other for transparency and stuff,
The concrete's gonna be expensive.
yeah.
Well,
That way,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but when we were going to fence in that larger area, I mean, Osterhoff's was only, oh, actually, can I blurt this out?
not now that you've said who it is.
Yeah, I didn't mean that.
Well, we got,
Under the threshold, let's put it that way.
so, past that, they can look at it and
And this is, this amount here is,
yeah,
That was for when we were,
concrete and everything?
no, that was when we were going to fence in the larger area now. There is less fencing, so I'm assuming, well, things go up and down, I mean, maybe it'll be similar to this, but that is still way under that, has to go out for bid threshold.
right. But sometimes even though it's under the threshold, it's more transparent to do it,
Sure.
you know. Then you don't get people complaining, well, it was a sweetheart deal, you went with your buddy, and
So we need to put out a fence bid again and a concrete bid separately?
unless one of them wants to, unless one of the fence companies wants to do it all, you know, maybe they have somebody that they work with on different things.
How tall is this fence supposed to be?
Well, it's different. Am I reading this right? It's different heights or is,
Should be at least 6 foot, I think.
Yeah, it was, the majority of it was 6 foot.
some of
Does it
it's
have to be
4
For
foot.
razor wire.
The 4 foot sections were to enclose the central air units over there to keep dogs from doing their business on them and chewing them and this and that.
Okay.
Which, that's another reason we're staying away from that by keeping to the east.
And it was going to also deter those people who like to steal copper for meth. Which was the case when we bought the building, remember all the copper had been cut, we had to have the new unit put in and whatnot. But now that stuff's gonna all be exposed still.
Well, if you want, I mean, just because we don't have dogs going there doesn't mean we can't secure it.
Yeah.
You know, if we need to secure the area around the air conditioners, we can put a little fence around. Do we need to cover it at 6 foot tall at all to keep them in? You're sure?
It doesn't say anywhere in the
I know,
regulations that we have to, but
but the dog I had for the short period
I know.
of time, they said 8 foot fence or it's getting out.
Yeah.
That's why I no longer have that dog.
A jumper.
Climber, yes.
6 foot.
and you'll have those from time to time, but with the officers knowing the dogs, they'll know not to leave it out there by itself.
So I guess a motion to send out the bid.
Right, I'll make that motion. One thing before we go any further, why don't we move the fence straight to the shed and to the shed to the building? Same-
Well, the layout may change here. I'll talk to Jill.
Show me where you need both
Go straight here to here,
and include the shed.
yeah. And then if you need to get somebody in there, you go to the door of the shed, put the door in there, go straight.
Just remember, all that's gonna need concrete under it.
This is gonna be a solid.
The shed is already sitting on a concrete slab.
So, well,
You should, if you would,
Like that. And just drink this out.
well, then there's a a unit right there that will need enclosed as well.
Right, where?
If you would, drive by there and just take a look and see what you think. I mean, that looks a bit cumbersome the way that's drawn, but, I mean, that's my doing too, but
What about like consideration for mowing
yeah, I know.
and snow removal? So is that a reason to do it this
We
way?
originally had talked about.
For
Yeah.
ease of access for those things?
Yes,
I did go out there and drive
because
a couple of times.
the shed door is here.
Well,
On this side.
just because the cost of concrete, if we just run an alley here and then split this in half this way with doors into the alley, then we don't have to cover all that in concrete.
Oh, you're not gonna cover this?
No, we just
Okay, that makes
do this
sense.
as fencing.
Now, wait a minute, explain that more in depth. An alley, what would that be, gravel?
It would probably still have to be concrete,
This would be,
but it would eliminate all this. So
So their whole area then is only,
23 by 42, which is 10 by 42, that's still a good size
42
area.
is this whole area.
Oh, okay, so 20,
So you're looking at like
10 by 20.
400 square feet or something.
That's pretty big expense.
which is, I'm guessing, is this room 400 square feet? This would-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the area if you wanna visualize.
I know, all I know is it's a lot of money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
concrete.
Yeah.
That would
So,
work though, Lyle,
an
unless there's,
alley,
And if we decided we needed more in the future, we could always add,
so what are you suggesting with this line?
that's a fence to split, so you'd still have
So
two
you
runs.
put like a door,
No. You come out here with the dog,
yeah.
like
Oh,
that.
I see,
there, gate there.
gate there, gate there,
Yeah.
okay. Well, and then that frees up access for you for snow removal, cause you come around the building like,
no, I don't do, like, snow removals in the front, but this is being mowed. And this, no, this would work fine, and then that would also exclude access to that, mini split AC unit that's brand new right there. That would keep the dogs away from that as well.
I didn't know there was a unit there.
And
Do we need to do something to protect that from theft and stuff?
probably, but
But that doesn't have to be a fancy,
no,
that could be a,
like go to runnings and buy panels type thing and.
Yeah.
My thoughts are to not include that in this project. I think that's something that can be addressed here.
out of the maintenance.
Yeah. Or just an out of sight, out of mind kind of thing as well, so
Right.
that would work and it would save some cash, definitely. Unless there's some sort of rules about the amount of space that dogs are supposed to
Sure,
have.
but I think that's plenty of
Yeah.
room without going back and
square,
reviewing.
well, this is 18 by,
And I guess we wouldn't necessarily have to pave the runway.
23 by,
like make this gravel line, and one of those real packed down ones.
Yeah,
where
because
they-
Jill, did you check with the city?
Not going to need
I
to,
have not,
they're not gonna be left in that area where they could go
Building
out.
regulation?
They're gonna
I-
be walked
Right.
to
I don't
this
remember
area.
if somebody had checked with them the first
So
go
are
around.
we're,
I just don't
you know,
remember. Did we
pinching a
check with
penny
the city the first time?
I
We
checked
took out
with
the
Eric Brandt,
guillotine doors.
but as far
So
as-
they were coming
That's
up,
who
so
it
we're
would say
working on
there's no, he doesn't have
approaching
any.
this again.
but this was before the whole
But, so
concrete
we
and all that
have
stuff, this was just for the
significant,
fence.
was this,
And he
was that with
steered me in the right
Village or
direction as to
North
where.
River?
No, that was just fence.
That was just
On different
fencing.
sides
And
where
I
the
sent,
property lines were both
Lyle,
concrete.
I know the
somebody
county's got,
back
don't we have hard
I
surface
sent,
on per kennel?
Chris,
Impervious surface.
Right.
This company was
Concrete.
recommended
I mean, I just didn't know if the city had-
Iroquois
Yeah, I know.
sent it to Chris.
They're using an older building code up in Eric about the morgue.
Contractors list,
And
this company.
So many rules.
there aren't very many fencing companies in Iroquois County, so.
Albany, okay. Where are they located?
Where you said. So I sent that to Chris, that was his phone day in a minute ago. Okay, I like this proposal, so
Right.
maybe, did we make a motion and second it yet?
Paul made a
Oh, I
motion,
did, yeah.
but I don't have a second.
Maybe, do you wanna amend your motion to go with this revised plan?
Right, to go, yeah. I'll amend that.
Is this okay with you, Jill? Is this what?
I asked her before I talked to you.
Well, I saw you get up and walk back there.
I want the boss's approval first.
So do we need to redo it?
And you know, as I think about it, Lana, why not?
You gonna do that?
You can't wash
Michelle, that's
down
yours.
gravel, you can't.
I have to say.
And so we pinch a penny, but what are we talking about?
I don't know.
We're there, we're doing
Should
it.
say
That's where
somebody
the
did.
discovery
Yeah.
part.
We've cut off this much, so maybe we wanna leave that 5 foot. I'm assuming that's where that's 5 foot there.
And we can get with Jill whether, like the height of that run fence, does it need to be 6 foot tall or is 4 foot tall enough just to walk the dog?
Well, haven't you always said, oh, there, of that?
Of course, it may not be much difference in price, 6 foot versus 4 foot. Yeah, so.
I think we should do all, I think we should do all 6 foot.
Yeah,
Make it consistent. It's an aesthetic thing, it's a safety thing, it's a consistent thing.
Now that the size of it is getting, progressively smaller and smaller, I probably could just put the whole thing out for bid, like a project. I want a door, I want this concrete, I want this fence.
Send us one price.
Who wants to do
Well,
it?
I guess we could give the option of you can bid on the whole thing or any part of it. That way, if somebody does say, yep, we'll do it all at this price, it would be more convenient for us.
Right.
But if we don't wanna limit ourselves to, well, nobody wants to do concrete and fencing. So we still need a second. Did you say your second?
Okay, second.
If you did, she didn't hear it.
So do we have specs written up for this? How big a can we also get this done at the March meeting? Can we open bids at the March meeting
Probably.
with all the same considerations that we've already noted?
I think so. Should be able to.
Because we're doing the specs for this, right?
Right, and basically it's the fence and the concrete and a 36-inch walk-through door. There's room for a 36-inch door, right? Where you got to walk in. We're not doing a 24-inch door or anything like that.
I know, and I haven't been inside where the pit bulls are to see how big that wall is. I'm going to need to, because I've only looked at it from the outside. Well, why are you making fun of me?
You're just funny. I only have 2 right now, and they're both pretty friendly.
So, even if it won't go there, there could still be a door.
Yeah.
From
You know what I'm thinking.
But you,
Yes.
So that'd be out of the garage area.
Yeah. Where they can walk right there. If it won't fit there, it can go there.
Okay.
And it's the materials, just that block wall.
Where are you pointing?
Right here. Instead of it being right there, if it won't fit, it can go right here. And they'll just have to take the dogs out and around and take them out there.
Got it, just a different wall.
Yep.
Okay. So 36 inches, that the bigger door size, right?
right,
Yeah.
32 and 36.
But I mean, you want a good-sized door to walk through with a dog.
Well, and you don't know in the future what equipment, you're gonna have to go in and out of there, and I think it's better to plan to need more room rather than try and get by with less.
So, brings me to this question real quick. Is this the kind of thing where we need to do a bid packet? Or do we do like we did the first time, put it out for bid, interested parties contact Chris Drake, Lyle Barons, whomever, and we have the exact lengths and dimensions drawn out, and meet me over here. I have it marked out with paint. We want a door here, we want a fence here, it's 6 foot and it's all concrete.
I guess the way to probably do it, we wanna put out a bid packet so everybody knows what they're bidding on. But then we could have, I forget what they call it, but where all the contractors that are interested would come and meet with you on a day at a time, assuming they're all available. And you just go through it once with them then, and if they have questions, they can ask.
That's sort of what we did for the initial morgue idea there on the south side. It was those 3 contractors out there.
That way you're not having to run over there 10 times.
Because if this is gonna go out after the full board meeting, once again,
You'll be gone.
I'm gone after today and until that meeting. Because we're off on this coming Monday. Well, a week from today, it's a holiday. Some president or something.
Yeah, when you said a bid packet with, this is the time where we're gonna meet and
So you'll be
address your,
back before the board meeting, the full board meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, so it won't get approved until after that anyway, so.
And that'll give me time to go over and, yeah, that'll work.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess if you could say, you know, a week after the approval of it,
Post on our website if it's approved at the full board meeting. County of Iroquois is taking bids for fence, concrete.
and then like, you know, the Tuesday following the board meeting, then you could get together, or whenever's convenient for you, I'm not gonna, but, you know, to give them enough time to actually get the bids together. So enough time for them to get the package and enough time for them to get the bid together afterwards.
Yeah.
And if they don't need to come and actually see it, they can call you anytime, right?
Yep.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Take the roll.
Bowers,
Yes.
Crowe,
yes.
Barons.
Yes. Anything else on morgue or animal control? I guess we kind of took care of update on fence installation at animal control with that.
We'll talk about it some more.
Sure, what do you got?
Nothing.
Okay, well, apparently the sheriff isn't gonna make it, so, he did send us a proposal. So, yes, I know. This is for the panic button.
No, I think they sent this to us.
Did they, okay, so you've seen it.
That's
You
something,
might recognize it when you see it.
that's something the insurance woman asked me as well, if we have a panic button system implemented. And I said, well, we're in the process of installing one currently. It's gonna service all the buildings. She said, that's excellent.
And we could decrease the amount of single button alarms that I did a walkthrough with sheriff and we talked to the offices and kind of the needs and what they thought and we came up with 48, but in some of the offices, I think their request was probably a little higher, so we could also decrease the amount of buttons as well, and that would help lower the price.
Where are we getting the money for this?
Travel grant. That's
wanted
what we
to use
said
it for
last
that, yeah.
time.
Where?
The tribal funds that I have left, we have 53,000 left out of that to do I originally applied for it to get this building painted and to, do animal control building updates, including the fence, so.
Is this, is 48 buttons, is that probably a majority of the desks?
Which like in, if you go down to whatever they call themselves, FSA, USDA, they have a lot of desks in there. I think it was 18 that we came, that when talking with them. But we could probably decrease that, cause their desks are butted right up against each other. And they're also, these buttons are something that you could either, put at a desk, you could mount it on the wall or counter, or you could take it with you. You know, there's an option on your computer, instead of actually having the button, there could be something put on the desktop. However, you know, when we talked with Sheriff and, I don't recall his name, but, I just met him for a few seconds, you know, when people are under duress to move your mouse and to get out all the tabs and then try to click on a button, it's sometimes your responses aren't there. So I think we could decrease the amount, and because they're $139 a piece. Cause you can always add them on later if you feel like, okay, maybe we do need one or two more.
So realistically, cut it by a third, cut it by half. You did the walk around, so.
Right, a third.
That's just the buttons.
Yeah, you can't really do much about, you need the
Right.
receiver, you need the repeaters, they're obviously gonna do the setup, which you need, and then that includes the training as well. Can't really decrease that much, but if you were looking to decrease the, you know, the original expense, we could lower the amount of actual buttons we get, cause you can always add them on later, or if a department feels like they need 2 more, they could pay for 2 more. It's a one-time expense.
So if we reduce by a third, that's 16 buttons, that's a savings of $2,224. Which brings it right down to 12 plus some change.
So, you're thinking, yes?
I guess we gotta have.
Well, we don't have to, but apparently the insurance company would like us to have it.
Yeah,
The people would feel more secure with it.
and we got to pay for it.
I'll make the motion to go with the proposal of, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the company,
Secure Tech Systems.
Secure Tech Systems, to revise it to 32 buttons,
We could do that.
or do you wanna go with 48? Or do you wanna go with 40, or do you wanna go?
I don't necessarily have a preference, I'm just saying if you were looking at reducing the cost, we could reduce the amount of buttons and just,
32 buttons, revise the quote, or the proposal to 32 buttons with the funds to be paid for out of the tribal grant. The correct name of that, of course, should be.
a second?
I'll second it.
Bowers,
Yes.
Crowe,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
FSA lease, they have not gotten back to me, have they gotten back to anybody else on anything? Okay, maybe I will try to run down there after the meeting or sometime today and see if they have heard anything back from their superiors.
See, this is the problem, is getting them to respond, so we need to keep pushing.
That's why we started early.
That's right.
All right,
Do we were gonna look at that list of, we wanted to start looking at that list, is it here? Can we have that at the next meeting, please?
You mean the one that you asked me to make copies of everyone? for?
Yeah,
No, I didn't.
okay.
I apologize. I have it right here.
You want me to go make copies
But I have
so they
not.
can take them home?
Yeah, I'd like to start looking at that.
It's a lot of points, that's not.
We sort of looked at it, you had a copy last time,
Yeah,
and I saw how,
there she is.
comprehensive it was, so
Yeah, they're Mr.
it's something that really needs to have to sit down and look.
if they're, and some of the stuff needs to be done anyway.
Right, and if you wanna sit down sometime when you're up there, come up and sit down and look at it.
Super nice Jill's making copies.
Super nice, Joe.
She'll be back in a bit.
Okay.
Well, was there anything else on FSA that you guys wanted to talk about, or we can move on to the mowing bid? Okay. We actually have a stack of them today.
How many?
5 bids?
Cool.
I have 5 envelopes.
Of course, we have had in the past where somebody sent us a letter saying, no, we're not gonna bid. Yeah. Okay, first bid is from David Hall Mowing. Whatever. First season, $13,075.
Did you say 14?
13,075.
For what is he bidding? 2 seasons?
Well, that's per season, so a 3-year contract at $39,225, which I'm sure just multiplies out. Yeah, so. Keep them together for you. Grubbs Lawn Care. Total amount of bid, well, okay. They have bid per season, so they don't have anything for the 3-year contract, so their bid per season is $67,200.
Per season?
Well, that's where they put it. I don't know if that's where
Well,
they
either way.
meant it.
Either way. If that's for the 3 seasons, it's still.
Yeah, even if that's, Garden essentials. Okay, 29,000 per season, just bidding for 2024 contract. So they only want to do one season. Got kind of a letter of introduction with it.
Let me see the info.
Gomez Lawn Care out of Forest, Illinois.
How long it would take him?
25,000 per season, 75,000 for a 3-year contract.
Two questions.
So just, yes, we can mention that they would have to file. Okay, so this is Fred and Blake Castoni. Bid per season 22,726. 3-year contract $68,178.
68,000 what?
178.
That's the one they just gave the 3-year total, 68. Is that what that one says, or did they break it down by season?
They had
22,726
Yeah.
per season.
Right. I just didn't hear him say it. I did the math here.
What do you want?
That is all I have.
Just talk.
Prevailing wage on this, too.
I believe that was brought up before, and there's something about lawn care services don't have to for some reason, I don't know. When he says that, it seems like it was brought up and that was.
Yeah.
But also with halls, that's, the owners are the ones doing the work, and so their hourly rate that they charge is probably above prevailing wage, which then would cover.
Yeah. Okay.
because they're not having to, you know,
Because they're the owners.
because, so say, if I were to bid on it and send someone to do the work, and if prevailing wage is $20 an hour for this, well, if my regular rate is $25 an hour and I'm the one coming doing the work, then that's covering it. Whereas if I send an employee to do it, then they would have to get paid $20 an hour. You know, that's one of them where you kind of, if you're the owner and doing the work, you kind of get around some of that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I think the first bid was the most reasonable,
It was the lowest,
the lowest.
Yeah. $13.75 per season,
39,225 every year.
whereas everybody else was at least double that, I think.
1670,
Yeah.
16.
So, I know, we've been getting a heck of a deal from them for a long time.
Okay.
We're gonna miss it when they are not there, I'm sure.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we accept
I
that.
have a question.
Go ahead.
Are we happy, are we satisfied with the work? Is it at?
Yeah.
And it all meets what we put in our contract? We don't
Yes.
have a contract, do we? Yes, we do have a contract.
On the bid packet, yeah,
Yeah.
sort of specifically details what we want done in them.
Right,
No,
right.
I've been,
They're doing that.
I've been happy with Hall,
So
absolutely.
we're familiar with it too, yeah.
I helped them out and they've helped me out over the years, like we've had some storm cleanup and
Right,
they'll show up with their trailer and
take off.
help me out for hours and we don't get charged for that, so
Okay,
yes, I'm happy with that.
okay.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept the first bid, what was it, Gilman or?
No, it was
David.
Hall's one
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry.
Where are they out of, Chris? Where are they out?
Gilman area?
We have a motion and a second,
Gilman on our,
Bowers,
Yes,
Crow,
Yes.
Barons,
yes. They're actually between Crescent City and Gilman where they are.
they've been doing it many years now.
Well, their son was doing it
oh, my neighbor did.
when I started here,
Okay.
and then when he went away, the parents took it over and
Cause I've been here 7 years, almost, and they've always done it.
I know. You probably do too.
The prices
I don't, they didn't.
hardly changed.
Yeah, well, I think the last time it was about 10,000, so with all the price of fuel and everything else going up, to go up only $3,000 is not.
I know.
And we've seen what they do.
so,
Fair
all right.
price.
I guess we're down to claims.
I move to
Approved.
approve the claims as submitted to the full county board approval.
Anybody want to second that?
I'll second it.
You haven't motioned or seconded anything, Lyle, you're slacking today.
Well, I tend to not when I'm here, when I'm.
You like to let the committee do the work?
Yes.
Good thing we don't have to have a third.
3 signatures on the check or something, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Bowers,
Yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes. Any old business?
Yes, I have something. Our Facebook page, I know Amanda and I have talked about this. It's really not being used, correct, Amanda? Because there's a problem, she understandably does not want to connect it to her phone number, her private phone number.
it's connected to my private Facebook already. It's just, what do I wanna say? I can see it. I haven't posted anything to it. I can see it, but I don't think that it's available for others to see it yet. Because I want to make sure that when I'm,
You
yeah,
don't
if
want,
I
you
post a
don't,
picture of my kids, I wanna make sure it's not
Showing up on
showing up
that
on
page.
that,
Right.
and then vice versa. So I talked with Scott Anderson, I know he does a lot with EMA, and posting on theirs. I want to kind of sit with him and see how he posts his items so that I can be more active on Facebook.
How is the EMA set up?
It was through Eric Sacy's Facebook, and now I believe it's been moved to Scott Anderson's.
I'd really like to see that move forward, especially when we could be utilizing that for our bid processes. In a business sense, you know, like that, I think that would be very beneficial, and you know, it takes a while to build a following.
Is there any way you can not have it tied to a personal? I know that's what Facebook
I think
wants.
we talked about it, and I don't know of a way, so I mean, if we can not have that, that would be great, but.
I know Amanda would prefer that, and I think that's totally understandable, and from the county perspective too, if there's another way, but. Is that something that,
Can we just make up a Facebook page for Princess Anarga and have that be the person
oh,
and have,
and attach it to that, like a dummy page, yeah? I don't know, is that something that area-wide could answer for us, or is that way out of their realm of,
because the problem with it being attached to any one person,
if that person leaves, and you know, a lot, we actually ran into that with the Republican women, and it was an issue.
Yeah.
And a lot of clubs and organizations now have an agreement, whereas the password that belongs to the organization.
yeah, if we can get some kind of technical, how to get it off of, because once you get one Facebook page that's off of personal, then you can tie the other Facebook pages to that.
Oh, really? You know more than I do. I know, like, I have a friend, well, she's on the IDA board, and she administers like 6 pages. And I should ask her how she's doing it, if that's tied to hers, but, you know, it's the difference, and she does a lot of promotions of businesses, works with Angel a little bit, and it's the difference between 300 people seeing something and 3,000 people seeing something. It gets shared. And as much as, you know, Facebook is like a 4-letter word, it's our new newspaper, it's our new means of getting the word out.
I guess we'll see what we can come up with on it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Let's pursue that with a little more
I mean, I
vigor.
know their policy is they want it tied to a person, but that becomes problematic in certain situations.
Oh, like this one.
I mean, if you have a business and you want,
Right.
you know,
Well, and then you don't have trouble attaching Barron's business to Lyle Barron's
Right.
personal Facebook page. That's
Right.
completely understandable.
Yeah. when you get into governmental things, then that's,
Well, you know, the sheriff has a page too, the Iroquois County Sheriff is, and it's been there a while. Who's that one attached to, Amanda, do you know?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Maybe we can try to do a little investigating on that. Is there any other old business or is there new business? Seeing none?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I second that.
I have to go home.
all in favor?
It's about time.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?